Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Hello and welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, home of the YouTube Silver Creator Award for passing 100,000 subscribers on our first channel. And today we crossed over 30,000 on our second channel. Today is also a day of excitement because we have the #1 new release on Amazon for our book, Broadcast Brilliance, The Evolution of USA Global TV and Radio, which celebrates all of our team members and our incredible journey. I'm Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, and I want to say hello to all of our loyal fans and to our new fans and to our friends at E360 TV. Thank you for distributing our content to all of your platforms. Our show today is a woman's prerogative. We have a very fascinating topic because this doesn't actually occur very often that we have this option. What if you had a day, 24 hours, all to yourself, and you could do anything you wanted, didn't have to get permission or approval, and you could just explore whatever it is that your heart desires? What would you do? Well, exploring this fascinating topic with me is my dear friend. She's also a mentor for me. She's been a mentor since 2019, and she's been with me here since the beginning. Her name is Mariska Dupria, and she is in New Zealand, formerly in Australia, and she founded a company called Journey to Discover, and she's helping leaders. She's a transformation wizard, and she is somebody who has extensive experience in professional leadership. So she's someone you want to get to know. Let's welcome her to the show, Mariska Dupria. Hello.
Hello, and thank you. And you are looking fabulous today. And this just feels like fabulous energy. Celebrating the book, celebrating 30,000 subscribers. This is just a good day.
Yes, it is. It's a very good day, and 102,000 on our first channel. And again, that doesn't include E360, right, where they're distributing to, or Zizzle TV, or Amazon Fire, or LinkedIn, Instagram. We could go on and on. It doesn't include any of those. So thank you again for being here and for always having that smile and that pretty face of yours.
Well, thank you for having me here and having me back. And I am really excited about today's topic because, well, as you said, that doesn't happen often, right? I mean,
no.
For most people, having a day to yourself, absolutely no one else to interfere, just you, and you can choose what you want to do for 24 hours. Yes.
No responsibilities, no one to answer to. I think we should have two options because there might be one that's really a fun option, and then there may be one that's more mental health, wellness or something. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
Ooh. Well, we will definitely explore all potential possibilities.
Yes. So let's start off by having you share with our audience the work that you do. And you're so talented, and your business has grown so much since I met you. Tell people how you can help them and what that looks like.
So I work within the leadership space, and specifically with leaders that want to bring a little bit more of their humanness into the work environment, and also with leaders that's stepping into leadership for potentially the first time. Now, this might be different phases of leadership. So sometimes we step in from a specialization into leadership, and other times we might step up in our leadership space. And different skills are required for these different places where we need to interact. So if you think about early leadership, integrity, although it might be something that's important, might not feature as much, whereas our personal integrity, the higher up we climb on that ladder, becomes more and more important. So that's just one of the things that we might be exploring together. So that's normally the people I work with. And what is it that we do? Well, we work on how we show up as leaders. What's our leadership style? What might that look like for us? And then also not only having the theory around it, but really what does it look like in practice? Because I don't know about you guys, but I've read tons of books and watched loads of YouTube videos around how to improve, how to do things better. And it's all well and good. They have great examples, but sometimes it's really tricky to actually do it for ourselves because we have our own things that we're working through. And this might come up as fears or resistances or all sorts of different things. And that is really where I help you to figure out what that might look like for you in your life and in your space specifically. So it's very, very tailored to you as within your leadership space. So that's what I do and who I work with. And of course, if you are looking to connect, the contact details are down below. So you can do that either via my email, which is mariska@journey2, the number discover.com, or alternatively, my website or LinkedIn. And that for now, Dr. Jacqueline, is way too much about me. So let's jump in.
Let's jump into the topic. So when you mentioned this topic to me, and this is probably going to sound morbid maybe in a way, but the first thing I thought of was going to the cemetery to visit my parents' graves because I haven't been there since we actually buried. Both my parents were cremated and we buried them, I think it was last year, and we buried them in a bench, which is above the ground. And at the time, I thought to myself, I'll never be back here. I was living in Florida, I think, at the time. And now I feel like, it's about an hour away. And I feel like I want to go there and just, I don't even know what you do because I'm not used to going to the cemetery. But I was thinking, by the time I get there and then it's in Pennsylvania, maybe I'd visit with some people I haven't seen. So that's why I said maybe two possibilities, because that might be answering or addressing one set of needs I have, whereas something else like getting a massage might answer something else. So yeah, so I don't know if that's a personal question or not, but how do you feel about visiting cemeteries? Any thoughts on it?
Personally, I think it is a very grounded space. Excuse the pun. There's literally a lot of soil around. And we are grounded when we get to a time when we are there. And for me, it feels like a place where all the crap, all the shoulds and shouldn'ts of life are removed. And it's almost like we get to be just us. That's the way I think about cemeteries, especially going to visit people that we unfortunately don't physically have with us anymore. For me, that's sort of the sense that it has. It has that they see me for me, the full me, the me without any masks or veneer or any bull around it, right? Just me. So I think a visit to the cemetery would actually be really good. And as you mentioned that, one of the things that me and my husband love doing is when we go to visit places. So say, for instance, we go to a little town that we haven't been to before. We will go to their cemeteries and just walk around and see who's been buried there, how they've been buried. To give you a quick idea, in Pilgrim's Rest in South Africa, there's an old cemetery there. So there's people there in that cemetery that's been buried that did some crimes. There was a couple of robbers that's also been buried there. So if you look at the orientation of the graves, they're different to the rest. Another thing that stood out about that specific cemetery is it's on the side of a hill and it's extremely rocky. You do not just dig a hole in the ground and put somebody in. It takes a lot of effort to actually have somebody buried in that cemetery. So the way that they did it, how it looks, the care that's been taken, when you look at that, you sort of feel all the love that these people's loved ones had for them when they buried them. So to me, I think that's a good place to spend a day, Dr. Jacqueline.
You know, what's interesting is that I know there are people who actually go to cemeteries. They do ancestry.com or one of those things, and then they go and search for gravestones with family surnames. Is it a surname is the last name?
Yes, surname is the last name.
Yep. Surname. So I think for me, the thing, and we might be getting deep, I don't know, but the thing about it is, if you have a loved one's ashes, for example, and they never get buried anywhere, then you don't really have to go anywhere because they're always with you. Some people have necklaces or they'll have whatever. One of my dogs, I had 3 dogs, as you know, and they were all cremated. And the one, I kept the ashes with me, paid like $150 for each one to be cremated. And, you know, they sealed a box. And then when I moved, you know, whatever number of time, like, what am I going to do with this box with these ashes in? You know, so just, I think I just threw it away. But that's what's interesting is that if people were just cremated and then the ashes were in an urn in your house or something, you wouldn't have to go anywhere. So do you think there's something to be said about physically going to a place to visit as opposed to you have the loved one's ashes there with you?
I think it depends on the person. I know that I've spoken to some people and they are very adamant about the fact that they want to be cremated. And then I've spoken to other people and they're very adamant about the fact that they do not want to be cremated. They want to be buried. And I think it's a personal thing. I mean, so for myself, within my own belief system, it's the body that stays, right? I'm not going to do anything with literally this piece of meat suit. If I'm gone, I'm gone. I'm out. Gone. So whatever happens to it, I'm fine. It's more of a what would be helpful or useful for the people that stays behind. And if that means that they put me in an urn, well, put my body's ashes in an urn, because, sorry, you will never be able to put me in an urn. Well,
nobody puts baby in a box.
Become a genie in a bottle, or an urn in this case. Right. Nice. But no, I don't think I want to go down that path. That might be a little bit creepy for some. So if that is something that works, and thinking about myself, if I were to think about, okay, I'm physically not in the country where I was born. I don't have any family. Is this correct? As far as I'm aware, I do not have any family in Australia. I might, very far family, but I don't think I have any family in Australia that I'm aware of at the moment. I do have some in New Zealand, but they won't be too worried about coming to visit my grave. So potentially, it might make sense for me to be cremated and then it be shipped off back to South Africa. I don't know. What would my family do with that? I really don't know. I might put a little letter and say, well, just put my ashes next to the stream on the farm, and then I'll have a nice place that I can think of when I think of this lifetime's end. But yes, other than that, I'm not really too fussed with what happens to my body. In saying that, that's not for everyone. For different people, different things. And I know with my grandparents, they actually have the same grave. So when my grandmom died, she got buried about a bit deeper down than my grandfather, because she needed to make space for him too. And he was it was the other way around. Sorry. It was my granddad first and then my grandmother. So he's a little bit lower down and she's on top of him. So they literally have two on top of one another, and then you have side by side ones. It is a very interesting thing. And this is a very interesting topic, seeing as we wanted to explore how to use your entire 24 hours.
Yes. So I had just said, because I haven't visited my parents' grave site, that I might go and do that if I had 24 hours. But on the other side, one thing I'd love to do is get a massage. And I typically get a massage once every year and a half, every 2 years. And I think it's like tonight I went to bar class. I don't know if you have that in New Zealand, but if you think about a ballerina and the ballet bar, but this is called off the bar. And so you have an actual bar that's weighted that you hold, and then you do things on one leg. And I noticed my feet, standing on one leg, my feet are very tight. It's almost hard to stand on one foot. And I used to have great balance. It's not that my balance is that bad, it's that my feet hurt. And I think it's because I'm standing a lot, like broadcasting, I'm wearing slippers. So I think that's the problem. But I'd love to go for a 90-minute massage. I mean, that would be amazing. Do you like massages?
I do. And I'm currently in the same boat as you, in the sense of did quite a bit at a stage and now haven't done any in a very, very, very long time. And I actually, the other day, I was reading through an article about detoxing, I think it was. And they had something on there that part of that detox, it is good to go for a massage, so that you can actually get all of the junk and stuff out of your cells, your physical system. And I thought, oh, yes, I want to be doing that. In saying that, I do not even have any idea who in my vicinity would be good for massaging. So I'll need to do some research.
To what you said, there's a lot of validity in that, by getting the junk out of your system. So I think the last time I had a massage was when I turned 60. I'm 62 now. And I remember it was a gift that my family gave me. And afterwards, I got really sick. And I was told by several people that is normal, that when you get a massage and the toxins are coming out of your body, that you may then get ill. So I thought, who wants to pay X number of dollars and spend 90 minutes so that you're sick afterwards? So I just stopped getting massages. So I don't know if there's any validity to that or not, but I have heard other people say that they've also felt under the weather. Now, maybe if you got a massage every week, I mean, if there's anybody out there who gets a massage every week, I know here in the States, I don't know about New Zealand, but we have businesses where you can pay a certain monthly fee, a subscription, and then you get one massage included for that, and then any others are at a discount. So that's an enticement. But at this stage in my life, I'm trying to get rid of as many subscriptions as I can. Because you know what happens? You just start paying money every month for things you're not even using.
Yes, that is something that I have also found not very useful necessarily. So I'm also very cautious about subscriptions. If I want to have a subscription, it needs to be something that I really want to do and focus on. So I'm with you on that one. Not sure whether we have any massage subscriptions. I have never looked into it, so that might be something to look into, especially when detoxing. It might be helpful to do a couple and not just one every so often. So potentially that might be a wise idea.
Well, when I looked into the flower arranging, because you and I had talked about that on another show, there were a number of places that offer it online, and all of them have a subscription. And so it's kind of hard because you don't know if you're going to like it or not. And then and by the way, I found this with subscriptions that, so I had eyelash extensions for, I guess, the last 3 months. And then I just couldn't take it anymore. That's another story. You go and sit and wait. You get your head back and they're doing your eyelashes for an hour and 10 minutes. And then they're falling out. And then the owner tells me that I have a 60% retention rate, which she thinks is great. I'm like, 60% is an F. No, I don't think so. But anyway, my point is that when I went to originally cancel the membership, well, you have to send an email and then like all these things that make it challenging. And I think that's where they get you. There's some companies, I think, I don't want to say which radio platform it is because they're huge, but I think you have to call and speak to someone. So they don't make it that easy because they want to try to keep you. And that's the part that I find is annoying. Like here on our platform, if somebody decides they can't broadcast or they want to leave, just send an email, give us 30 days notice. That's it. There's nothing else. There's no begging. There's no, so I'm not a big advocate of subscriptions in a lot of ways. But if you were able to, let's say, get on a Lear jet and go somewhere for a fabulous romantic dinner, is that something that you would consider? Like the movie Pretty Woman. Remember that? Did you see it?
Yes, I did. Ages back.
Yes, good one.
And yes, I would really enjoy that. There's my bigger problem would be there's a couple of places that I would like to visit. So I don't know which one I would pick.
What are they on the list? You want to share?
Well, I think that the first one would most probably be France. I'm not sure whether I want to go to Paris, though. I mean, Paris, yes, beautiful, all the rest of it. I would really like to go to Provence.
Oh, nice.
So that's potentially rather the place that I would want to go to when going to France. I would like to go to the UK. There's most probably going to be Stonehenge. I know when you guys think Stonehenge, romantic dinners, do not equate. For me, it does. So I'm good with that. There's also a small little place, I think it's between France and Britain, called Brittany. I'm not sure geographically exactly where it sits. Haven't looked at the map. But I would also love to go there. So that's the other place that I would like to go. And then, well, there's a few very far off the beaten track sort of places that I would also love to go that you don't typically get to with a jet. So I'm not sure whether my dinner reservations, or even if there is places there that would give you dinner, I would most probably need to pack a picnic basket for it, which I'm fine with. I'm happy with picnic baskets, and most probably also look for the right time of the year so that it is a nice day when I go, even if it is snowy, and of course be prepared for said snowiness. Which actually reminds me of something that I read not so long ago, because one of the places that popped into my head for some odd reason was that very, very big mountain. Dr. Jacqueline, what's that mountain?
I am not good with that stuff. I don't know.
A lot of people climb it every year.
Oh, I was going to say Mount Rainier. That's not it because it's in the...
No, the highest one on the planet.
Yeah. I know. I can see the people climbing.
Kilimanjaro, is it?
That's in Africa, isn't it?
Oh, yes, that is in Africa. No, I can't remember the mountain's name. In any case, the thing that I read was that the person wanted to get to the top of said mountain, but not scale it. So they literally got a helicopter to take them. The only thing that they didn't take into consideration is one of the reasons why you actually need to climb it is because your body gets used to the altitude and the lack of oxygen that you will have, because there's not a lot of oxygen up there. So your body needs time to actually acclimatize to it, and the climb helps you to do that. So they went up with a helicopter. Person got out of the helicopter, fainted, and couldn't even enjoy it. So they had to get back into the helicopter and go down. Like, yeah, okay, that was a bit useless.
I'll tell you what, I've been in a helicopter, I think once or twice, many, many years ago, I think in Hawaii, and I didn't like it. They have the see-through bottom. No, don't like it.
Not your thing.
Not my thing. And then another time, because I sold meetings and events, so we would go on the site inspection, and then we would go on the program with the clients. So I've been a lot of places, but there was a place where someplace you would ski. And oh no, it wasn't skiing. I think this was Palm Springs in California, and they take you on this gondola up somewhere, and it's literally see-through, and you're standing, so you're like holding on here, or you can hold on to the middle. And I did not like it. I do not want to do that again. That is not on my list of things to do for an entire day. And I know some people really like that. People like to be able to look down and see what's there, but I'm not afraid of heights. That's just that's not my thing to do. I'd rather be in the Learjet going to the Eiffel Tower to have dinner. I've done that before, and that's really incredible to look out over and see everything.
Yes, I can imagine that would. I have not been to the top of the Eiffel Tower. I don't know about ever, but this lifetime definitely not. And yes, that would be something that I would really enjoy doing too. But as I said, I don't. There's so many great places to go and visit.
So many places.
How do you choose?
Well, with the Eiffel Tower, when I went there the first time, I think I was married, and the tower itself is huge. And you walk up, and then the elevator goes up the side of one of the legs, and then it takes you to the middle. And that's where the restaurant is. It's called the Jules Verne. And so it's not all the way at the top, it's in the middle. And the view is incredible. I highly recommend it. And you can't just get in there. You have to make reservations, usually well in advance. I would imagine the summer in Paris than during the tourist season. And another restaurant that I think is really worth seeing, by the way, we're not paid spokespersons, it's called Restaurant Le Serre. And the ceiling opens. It's a huge, heavy ceiling. And so if you can imagine, you're sitting at your table, and then all of a sudden the ceiling opens, and already there are all these hanging down plants. It's beautiful. So the ceiling opens, and you can see all the stars. And it's really romantic. And then they close the ceiling. I don't know how many times they open, if it's once or twice a night, but that's something I really recommend.
Oh, that sounds beautiful.
But from where you live in New Zealand, if you were to take a Learjet, where could you actually travel to go to a romantic dinner? And because you're not able to go to Europe in that amount of time, are you?
Well, see, now that gives 24 hours a whole new meaning. We can just be chasing the sun. Exactly. Or the night, depending on what it is that floats your boat. It actually reminds me, back in South Africa, we went to the, now what the hell is that in English? It's called the Sterrewag in Afrikaans, which is not helpful to you or anyone else really. It is where you look at all the stars. They have these
a planetarium? No.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. One of those. But it's one of the big ones in the Southern Hemisphere. So there's two that they actually do research and stuff. That's the one. And then there's another one here in Australia. So what I want to do is I want to go and visit the one that's in Australia. We went to the one in South Africa. It is really a great experience. There's literally, in the little town that's next to it, very little. They do not have the fuel stations open after a certain time at night. It only opens later during the mornings. During weekends, they have certain hours. It's almost like they roll up the roads, they go to bed, and then they unroll the roads, not literally, in the morning again. Very quiet little place. There is definitely not a lot of light pollution, hence why you can watch the stars there. And it is an experience that you can definitely put on your bucket list. If you don't have it on there yet, then put it on there. And that's the other place I would like to go and visit while here in Australia. Is I would like to go to the one that is here. I think it's somewhere in the middle of the desert, in the middle of the country, which if you don't know, Australia is fairly big. So I will still need to figure out exactly where it is and how to get there. But I love that. And that is something that I can say I can pretty much do for almost 24-hour cycle, is just look up at the stars. There's so many wonderful things up there. And it is beautiful. So that's something that I would like to do. I think maybe my head might hurt after laying for 24 hours on the back of on my back all the way. So potentially I'll need to pepper in a few other things, such as jetting off and going to other exotic places. Who knows? Or chasing the sun. Mm-hmm. So, Dr. Jacqueline, have you ever gone to watch stars? Is that something that you are into or not? Quite.
When I was in high school, I think we went to the planetarium, and I always remember it was so cool. You would look up, but your neck would always bother you because you were like leaning back on something. But I thought it was amazing, and I really admire when people have a telescope and they can look out their window and see what's going on out there, because I think that's something that we take for granted just in general. So for me, I'm not in nature very often, so I'm not always really looking up at the stars until the summer when I have an opportunity to do that. And the sky is really amazing. We watch the sunset and the sunrise. It's neat. So I have done that in the past. Something that I think I'd like to do, I was watching a show on Netflix, and I think I told you, I don't watch regular television, but I like to watch reality TV shows because I think it's just amazing to watch if it's a competition. And this one is Battle Campground, I think. And they have reality TV stars from other reality TV shows, and then they come to this camp. It's set up like a camp, and they have to do these competitions, and they're competing for $250,000, and they form teams, and they turn on each other, and then they're individuals. But I always thought it would be cool to be on a reality TV show, and the one I wanted to be on, which is, there's no way it's not 24 hours, it's a long time. So it was Squid Games. Did you ever see Squid Games?
No, I have not. What do they do?
It takes place, I believe, in Korea. And they go and find people who are hard on their luck, who need money. And this guy shows up in a suit, and he gives them this business card, which you can't read because it's not in English, and tells them to call the number. And then they call the number, and I'm trying to remember, but they end up coming to this facility, this huge facility that looks like just a big warehouse. And then they have these people who are working there in the Squid Game, and they have on these pink outfits. They're just covered. You can't see them. And then on the front, they have an O, or they have a triangle, or I think they have a square, and that denotes what their role is there at the Squid Games. So you have all these people competing, and they're doing games that we would do as children. So the one is called Red Light, Green Light, and all the contestants, they're all dressed the same, and then they have numbers on their shirt. And so they're all way back at the starting line, and there's a huge robot at the end, and her head turns around. So female, and her head turns around. So she's not looking at them, and she'll say, red light. So everyone stays there. And then she goes, green light. And they all start running. And then when she says red light, you can't move. If you move at all, she's got, the eyes of whatever. So if you move at all, you're automatically shot and killed.
Ooh.
Yeah. This is the part of the game I don't think I'd want to be.
That sounds quite lethal.
Yeah, and then so it was very interesting, and they had the first series and they had the second series. But what ends up happening is people form alliances, and it's like this on all the reality TV shows. Usually you get in with people you trust, and then because of the nature of the show, you have to separate and then turn on the people you trusted. And it's all a mind game, like Survivor, any of them. And the part I like, not that part of the Squid Game, but the part I like is understanding the person's thought process, because in the end, it's about winning money. And so you like the people you're with, or you don't like them, but in the end, you're there for the money. You probably took off from your work for 3 months. You had to go through this scrutinization process and psychologists and all these things so that you can compete for this money. So that's the part that I like about it, is to just see how the human mind works and how people come up with strategies of doing what they're going to do.
Well, I'm with you with the how people's minds work. I'm not so sure whether I will be down for being shot because I did something that didn't quite work according to the rules.
Let me rephrase. I think I'd like to produce a reality TV show. How about that? Produce one.
Ooh.
That would be different. Yes.
Ooh. Okay, so if you were to produce a reality show, right, what would the rules be of said show?
Well, one of the shows that I really liked, and now I'm not going to remember the name. So before I get to the rules, the shows like The Housewives, do you watch any of them?
I have on occasion.
Yeah, well, there's only one that I watch, and that's Beverly Hills. And I noticed over the years, it's starting to, I don't like when people are out to dinner and there's other diners that are having dinner, and these people start screaming at each other and throwing drinks. And it's like, come on, you're a grown person. So I really don't like that. I don't like the backstabbing and all of that. So that's not a show that I would want to do. I'd want to do something where if I was producing it, it's using your mind. So there's a show that was just out. Why can I not remember it? And people can win. One person can win $1 million, and it takes place actually in Canada. It takes place in this beautiful resort. They've changed the name of it. But if I were producing a reality TV show, the rules would be everyone has to treat each other with respect, and you have to think of the end game, but at the same time, you have to think about how you're going to be viewed, because these people go right on, they become stars. They're reality TV stars, and people are following them, even people selling real estate on these real estate shows. And so then you get labeled, you get a bad reputation because of what you did in the reality TV show. So I think people would have to be aware that, before they decided to do something against someone else, that might be how they're remembered, whether they won the money or not. Does that matter?
It's always fascinating to see how people think about how they go about, playing the game in the reality show. Because as you mentioned, it is a game. There is something up for grabs, right? Even the Love Island things.
Right.
Yes, there's the love piece of it. And, there's also money. If you get to be the couple, there's going to be money attached to it. And hopefully you have a strong connection. But if you just play the game, you might not. And the other person might be not very happy about it. So understanding that there's rules to it and how you engage. And I always find it fascinating so how would I, if I were to be a participant in something like that, how would I feel about my own conduct in that situation, right? Would I be okay with me? if something happens, and is that amount of money worth my integrity? Is it worth who I am as a human or not? I mean, for some people, they don't see it as a problem. I will most probably not participate in said show. Maybe a cooking one. That would be fun.
But you know, there is, to your point, there's a movie that is really, that was the whole core of it. It was, I believe, with Robert Redford, Demi Moore, and I think Woody Harrelson. And I think Woody and Demi are married, and they're somewhere, and Robert Redford is very wealthy, and she goes in to try on a dress, I think, in the store, and he's there. And anyway, I don't know if they're all staying at the same place. I can't think of what it was, but he actually offers the two of them $1 million to sleep with her for one night only. And the two, have you seen it? I don't remember the name. It was such a good movie because it really made you think, because there's that temptation, and then there's the money, and then there's the after the fact. And so the two of them as a couple went back and forth and back and forth, and finally decided that she would sleep with him. And then she got the $1 million. And then I think she ended up with him, and they ended up not being together. And so everything that they had built was ruined. And then I think everything with the new couple was ruined. So it was really fascinating to watch, because they made a decision like, how will we ever have $1 million if we don't do this? But at the same time, can you really, and maybe for some people, because they have open relationships, it's not a big deal, right? It might not be a big deal, but in the end, there's always something to throw in the other person's face. And when the money's gone, I don't know, it's a tough call. So for $1 million, like, you're not going to see me on Survivor sitting on a log with ants crawling on me, or you're not going to see me on Naked and Afraid. No, I'm sorry. But if I'm fully clothed, dressed really well, and I'm, having nice meals in a castle, and I have to do some mind games, I think that would be good. So the Squid Game is out. Now that I think about it, the Squid Game is totally out. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking when I said that.
Well, it was really about the mind games piece of it, right? So, and that can go scary movies. For those that watch all the Saws and all of those sort of things. That's mind games on steroids, where you need to inject, cut off, you name it, to survive, type of thing. Not my idea of fun, especially not if I'm the one that needs to be cutting pieces of myself. It's fine. Just chop my head off. I'll just be done with it then.
What if you're a chicken and you're still walking around? But you know what? I wanted to bring something back about the money, because this actually happened today. And, you and I have been together for a long time, and you're an excellent coach. So today, when we're talking about money, the new book has earned this status. And first it was a top new release, and now it's a number one new release. So I happened to be speaking to a friend of mine, and my friend said, well, what's going on with you today? And I said, you know what? I'm super excited, because you have to remember, my mom's gone. I live by myself, right? I spend a lot of time alone and working, which I love. I love working. So I was really excited just to share this information. And my friend said, well, how many books did you sell? And I said, I don't know. I'll look at the report, but the paperbacks don't actually count until they're shipped. So someone orders a paperback, let's say today, but it's not shipped until Wednesday, it doesn't get counted. Someone leaves a review, the Amazon platform has to review the review, because I know a few people who did leave reviews, like you and I and other books, and the reviews are not there yet. So ultimately, at the end of the month, all the information will be there. So the person kept asking about, well, how many reviews? And I said, I think you're actually missing the point. The point is that this was a concept and an idea. And by working on this and finishing it and spending the 15 hours doing the social media marketing, now it actually is deemed it's number one. And the person said, but how much money will you make from it? I said, I can't have this conversation anymore. So the person said, I wouldn't be doing it. I wouldn't be doing it unless I was going to get rich. And I said, well, I'm not in the same mindset as you. So someone could offer me $1 million for something, and I would probably say no, because I'm more of a heart-centric person.
Yeah, that's my thinking too. It's really around what is it that's important to us that makes the difference to whether we will engage with the thing or not. For me, financial incentives, well, not that important. Yes, I need a roof over my head and food in my body and all the rest of the basic stuff. But $1 million, okay, great. What the thing is, that $1 million is attached to something, right? Sure. What is it that you are paying, basically, to get to it? And that, to me, is the more important question. So if that isn't in line with who I am as a human being, then no, sorry, forget it. You can offer me any amount of money. I won't go for it, because of exactly that reason. So, and I think that's to your point on the book. We don't always do things for a financial incentive, right? The book wasn't a get quick rich scheme thing. That's not why you did it. Because if it is, then I don't think publishing is necessarily the place to be. No. I'm not saying that there isn't people that makes lots of money within that space, but that's also not everyone.
No.
So understanding why we do things, really, really important.
And you and I have written books together, and we didn't do it to make money. And now I think I have 16 books. I don't know if it's 16 or 17. And I'm not a full-time author. I'm not even applying for awards. It's not important to me. What's important to me, and I'll just I know we're over, but we've got a few minutes for our contract here. So with E360, and our next show is delayed. So anyway, the whole reason I wrote the book, I think, is interesting. I am invited to do a book signing at the end of the month. And I was invited last month or the month before, I forget. And I was specifically told by this person who's hired me before to teach classes in person that I couldn't have any signage with USA Global TV and Radio, because they're aware of the television network, but they know me from Dr. Jacqueline LLC, writing books and teaching classes. And I said, well, I really wanted to bring some of my, like I have these banners, right? So I wanted to bring these 2 banners. They're already made, it's great just to put them up. And I said, so I've got coffee mugs, I've got some other things, and I've got all my books, of course. And she said, well, you don't have a book on USA Global TV and Radio. And I thought about it, and I said, not yet. Not yet. And I called my book coach, or I texted him, and I said, guess what? The other 2 books that we have, we're putting them aside, and we're focusing on this. And I think that's why yesterday I spent that 15 hours, because I thought to myself, this is something that I wasn't thinking I was going to do. And now I'm doing it, and I want that gold star. But it's not just for me, it's for everyone, because we probably have 40 team members who are mentioned in there, and bios and show graphics and contact details. And you never know where that's going to lead. So anyway, there it is. And now I will be able to have all the USA Global TV and Radio things there too.
And that was the incentive, not to make money from the book.
No.
It was really to get the word out there. And that's a great way of doing it.
It's true. And I sent an email, by the way, to this person. And I don't know this person. They hired me, right? So they've paid me for other things. And so I just sent an email and said, by the way, thank you, because what you told me really was a motivation for me to write this book. And I'm so glad I did, because it really, at the same time as when we got the YouTube Creator Award. And as I wrote in the book and on some of the social media posts, that award isn't about me. That award, I didn't get 100,000 subscribers. Okay. We all did with our work, and with the search engine optimization team, and with the SEO team, and not the SEO, the social media team, and the producers, and all the show hosts, and the guests, and the fans. So that's not just about me. And I try to look at everything, and people say, well, how much money are you making for what you're doing? I love when people just come out with that. Like, I'm never walking up to someone going, how much money do you make? How much money do you have? I don't know if people are just intrigued, but I just say to them, listen, I'm making a living. I'm happy with what I'm making. I could always be making more. I'm not making what I used to make, but I don't answer to anyone. I don't leave. I get up at 8 a.m. I'm not driving anywhere. There are trade-offs. There's no amount of money for the lifestyle that I have now. It's literally priceless.
See, and that is what people don't always understand. It's understanding that these things are important and what it is that's important to them.
Very true. I'm not sure if we lost Mariska or not. Are you there?
I am, but I'm seeing that my video is gone for some odd reason. So I'm only seeing a black box. I don't know what you are seeing.
I see you in mid-sentence.
Oh dear. Hopefully I'm not pulling my face really bad.
No, it's okay. There's no wrinkles there. So I guess it might be a good time to say goodbye. We only have a minute and a half before our stream is cut. So Mariska, would you like to share with people how they can reach out to you and who's a good client for you?
Yes, I will do that. So good clients for me is anyone that's moving into leadership or already in the leadership and moving up in your leadership career. And you want to bring a little bit more of your humanness into your leadership space. Of course, you can get hold of me via my website, which is journeytodiscover.com, the number 2. You can also contact me via my email, which you will see in the banner down below. It's Mariska, Mariska, @journeytodiscover.com. Or alternatively, you can also find me on LinkedIn. So on LinkedIn, I am Mariska de Prieur, and you can send me a direct message and we can take our communication from there. Thank you, Dr. Jacqueline.
You are more than welcome. Let us bring up your LinkedIn. Here it is. And you can contact Mariska there. By the way, it says Australia, my friend. I think you have relocated to New Zealand.
Other way around. So from New Zealand to
that's
Australia.
Right. Oh my gosh. I'm the one who needs to get it together. Oh my gosh. In my mind, you're always in New Zealand. You're my New Zealand girl. In fact, when I created the promo for the broadcast, I put New Zealand. My apologies. All right. Well, we are going to take off and say goodbye. Mariska, are you coming this week for your Talking Heads?
Yes, indeed. You will be seeing me this week for Talking Heads, and hopefully I will not be a frozen screen, but we'll be actually interacting. That would be great.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll see you again soon. Enjoy the rest of your day and have fun in Australia.
I will. Thank you. You too.
Bye. All right, folks, we have to say goodbye very quickly. I just want to share, if you have the opportunity to go over to Amazon, I believe in all the countries, you can go there. There is the ebook, Broadcasting Brilliance, The Evolution of USA Global TV and Radio. That's the Kindle version, and that's a #1 new release. And we also have the paperback version of Broadcasting Brilliance, The Evolution of USA Global TV and Radio, #1 new release. Just go to Amazon, put in my name, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, and you'll be able to find them. And we'd love for you to, the ebook, I think, is $1.99. Be part of our community, understand what we're doing, get involved. We'd love to have you. All right, we're saying goodbye for now. Thank you very much. Thank you to our friends for E360 TV for letting us run over a little bit. And we will see you for our next show. Bye for now.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/usaglobaltv. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dyes. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.